Welcome. This is Kevin, also known as AWOL, and today's pattern was a real interesting change of pace because of the way the colors go. So you might notice at the very beginning of it, one dark set had to go over to the right, and one light set went to the left. By the way, it's patterns 1236 and 7093, both over on friendshipbracelets.net. So that's not the only thing that's really unusual about this. What is going on in the middle is super repetitive, and then what goes on the outside is repetitive, but at a different pace. So it keeps kind of changing as you go along, and that got a little bit confusing. By the way, I'm not sure if the colors are going to get picked up really well on this. The inner diamond is a kind of a pearl, kind of off-white-ish thing. And instead of using gray from the pattern, I went with white. So the two of them are kind of close. I think right now you can kind of see a bit of the difference. I tried to be zoomed in and have the focus right for this. But yeah, I'm looking at it here, and I got a screen over here. I can see what I'm doing. It turned out really, really cool. It was definitely a challenge, and you can see as it goes along the different cycles that it runs through and stuff. It kind of makes it hard to tell like exactly where the center was or anything like that. And yeah, I had to look at the pattern an awful lot to make sure I was where I thought I was. But then, like, doing the little diamond square things like this, like, after a while, you know, okay, I'm at one of those, do it. But yeah, it proved to be a little bit more of a challenge than I thought it was going to be going into it. I honestly really thought this was just going to be a cakewalk. But there was a couple times where I, like, pause the video to just double check where I was, because I didn't want to go like longer than what the pattern was, especially since again, it would have been gray, but in mine it's white. That outer one gets used so much that I started getting really worried towards the end. Turns out my tassels are fine, but had I gone on for much further, then we would have had some trouble. Again, I cut my strings really long just to kind of avoid any kind of problems like that. But it still gets rather uncomfortable when you're getting closer and closer and worrying as to, you know, will it make it all the way to the end or not? So that's just a heads up, just so you know. The rest of the colors, pretty close to even. One of the strands of green was considerably shorter than the others, and I didn't do anything in particular to try to make or prevent that from happening, but I thought it was a little bit unusual when I went to braid it up that to notice that one of the darks was off from the rest. But other than that, pretty easy, pretty straightforward. It is a neat bracelet. It really is interesting. I guess because you have a light color and then two other light color, like the white, the cream, and the light green, all seem to be the contrast to the darkest, as opposed to having two colors, like two shades of green, to really to take it a long way. So when you look at it from a distance, it seems to be very light, with the exception of the dark green in it. So like I'm not sure if I necessarily picked the best colors for this combination. I thought it would be a little bit more interesting with the white as opposed to a gray. But even if I had gone with a gray, depending on the shading or whatever, I don't know if that it would have necessarily have balanced anything out any better. So yeah. Yeah, if you end up making this thing, definitely try it in some different colors. I'm just curious what else it would look like. Mind you, I just got done finishing this. It's pretty late in the day. I was excited. I thought I'd get the recording in and tell you guys about it. So yeah, kind of bear with me. I'm just my medication that helps me sleep is starting to kick in. I can feel it. But yeah, it was a fun thing to make, and I like the fact that you have the dark zigzags and the dark whatever sandwiched into the light, and then in the light for the light it's sandwiched in between the darks. There's something about the way that this thing is balanced that just makes it a little bit more interesting to me. And yeah, I think that's pretty cool. Hopefully you guys do as well. I mean, I don't I don't necessarily know what is going to happen when I mash two patterns together. So it's always kind of a surprise. And then when it turns out really neat and then the project turns out pretty neat, I too get, oh, look at that. We did a thing. That's kind of where I'm at right now. And I wanted to kind of get the recording in now where I can, still have some of that enthusiasm for the pattern itself here. So that's why I'm here as late as as late as it is. There. Yeah. So this is going to end abruptly. So before I end up forgetting or whatever, I do want to thank my Patreon supporters as well as my YouTube members for making this possible. We're probably halfway in the video here, and I never want to forget them. They make this channel what it is. So thank you guys so much for that. I really do appreciate it. It really is not only about the fact that it affords me the floss. I feel more obligated to be here in front of the camera because there are people out there who believe in me. And you guys, I don't even know how to express my gratitude, because there was a while where I thought that there's no way I was going to continue this thing. And look at us, a couple years of really putting in the work. And yeah, did you know that we're coming up to 500 videos? Amazing, absolutely amazing. Who would have thought I had it in me? So there you go. The overall, it took me, I think, well, I know it was over an hour, but I think it was only over an hour by like 6 or 7 minutes. So kind of along the same lines as most of the other ones. Obviously, if it was just an arrowhead, I could do it in less than an hour. So looking up and trying to see where I am in the pattern takes time. That was part of the thing. Mildly distracted. I was watching a few videos. I don't get much chance when I'm working like full on like I have been lately. I have a couple big projects that I kind of want to work on, kind of in like, I'm not sure how this is going to work. I have a big project that I want to do. I'm going to film segments of it and have a video that'll come out after the whole thing's done. But in order for me to get there, I have to do a bunch of recording and get things to where I can have the free time and able to do that. And I haven't figured out how that's going to even manifest itself, because it seems I keep putting in full length days just to have the regular time of having these videos on the daily. So I'm really not sure how I plan to squeeze a whole extra bigger project out of it. And when I say it's a bigger project, it's bigger than most of my small bags. So yeah, that's something to look forward to. Yeah, again, I don't know how I'm going to do it. I'm honestly, but I have my fingers crossed. I think if I try hard and you know, maybe skip having days off. I don't know. I kind of feel like I have to take the days off because honestly, I would spend every single day working, and I'm not sure that that's necessarily the best thing for mental or physical health. So we'll see. But yeah, that's part of the thing. And no, nobody knows over on members or Patreon about my special new big project, but um, I've got string out for it just in case I get ahead. Um, I don't know. We'll see where it goes. Also, I need to also take some time and figure out what kind of patterns are we going to work on next month, and it never ends. It's always there's so much to do. So yeah, maybe if one day we can get this channel big enough that I can hire some help, that would be kind of cool. That would be that'd be way cool. Yeah, see how that goes. Won't be for a while though. Not at the rate that things are going for me now. So trying to think. Oh, so remember that thing with the red going in and out, whatever? What this one does instead of having that change of color is there's a bigger diamond and a smaller, and a bigger and smaller, right, on the edges. And that's the constant that keeps changing that makes it easy to kind of see where you are. Mind you, a lot of the stuff is a bit repetitive, and so a lot of it kind of feels like, wait, am I really there? Or so yeah. Um, at one point, I was even tempted in just pulling it open in GIMP and just crossing off stuff because that's just absolutely the easiest possible way to do this stuff. But I didn't. It's not that bad. It's not so bad that you have to do that. It just takes a little bit longer to see where you are and make sure that you have things right. And you can see there's potential for segment knotting and getting areas done. Um, I probably didn't take full advantage of that if for no other reason to try to keep things in an area so I could watch the pattern closely. Again, I didn't want to go too long and overshoot the mark, and wanted to have the proper symmetry and stuff to it. So that was a thing. Um, I'm trying to think if there's anything else important. There was. Oh yeah, here comes the end. If I had something important, it's too bad because I've run out of time. I'm sorry, guys. Thank you for watching, and as always, don't get your strings in a bunch.